Okay. I think Michael is back. Michael, if you can hear me, can you conclude your point?
Yeah, I was struggling to hear you, but I think I can hear you, although it's faint. But as I was saying, this just demonstrates the FA's lack of expertise and also that of the club to run a proper league game and as well prepare for an event in this upcoming. We have struggled to just piece or box the two together, and that has been our bane. So they feel that if there will be less stress, there will be less, if there won't be much pressure on clubs, let's say Bibiani Gold Stars as it stands now have been confirmed winners of the Ghana Premier League. So any other game that they will play will be seen much more as a friendly. So it gives them ample time and enough attention in terms of preparing for an event to coronate their success. And that makes it more enjoyable and more successful. So clearly, that is the plan. So Sam was done as Summer Boy. It is also to just increase attendance and everything. Because when the people of Bibiani and the surrounding towns get to know that, okay, Bibiani Gold Stars have won the league and they are doing a coronation, then you are guaranteed massive attendance during their coronation game. And it helps the clubs to also make additional revenue than they would for a normal league game. Because the game they played against Accra Lions, if you are going to do a coronation sort of, you will not get the attendance as you expect. But if it is Gold Stars versus Mediama, yep, there are two Western regional clubs. One is in the Western North, the other in Western Region Main. And then there is a coronation planned as a result of it. You have all the officials coming to town, and then also you have entertainment events pieced into it. There will be performances from artists and dancers. I think it gives it a different buzz, and it allows you to make additional money. And then it also brings basically all the top football officials to town. And that is the essence of these coronation exercises. It is not just to present the trophy, but it's to make sure that you have all the big wigs coming to town. It will be very befitting and it will be very beautiful that the FA boss, in the company of some top officials, the regional ministers, the DC or the MC, all being present at the venue just to observe this kind of ceremony. So I understand the point that Raymond is making, but the other side is that this kind of coronation games allows clubs to make additional revenue. It allows clubs to draw the top officials to town so that there won't be any divided attention. Because in the case of Bibiani Gold Stars and Nations FC, where would the FA president have to go? So these issues will need to be catered for by finishing the season, being very much aware that you've won the league, and then eventually there is a coronation game just to crown everything off and then celebrate it. And to me, I think both sides of the coin work, but in our jurisdiction or in our location, this is the best that we can go about it for now. Because we don't have what it takes to just run everything on the final day. It wouldn't be that exciting.
But Michael, don't you think that, for example, the absence of a decision on the Nations FC case kind of like backed the FA into a corner where they were left with little or no choice? Don't you think that if, for example, there was clarity on the Nations FC case before match day 34, it would have provided the FA with an opportunity to plan properly, and it would have given them a clearer idea as to where to be, where to hand the trophy over, and all of that. And then we officially end 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League.
Well, it still wouldn't have put the situation in a much more clearer context, because what Nations FC did in the game against Basakoli Stars, if you are to apply the FA rulebook, will just be tantamount to forfeiture. And that classification of forfeiture in their instance will just amount to them losing the 3 points and 3 goals, and that will be awarded to Basakoli Stars. So there will not be any further punishment that will be suffered by Nations FC. They will just lose the 3 points that was on offer for that particular game. And it would have just given them the same number of points heading into the final match day. So it wouldn't really have changed much. And it is not even just that. As I said, maybe this conversation needs to broaden into the scope where we have to look at, does the FA have a competent events department? That is something that we need to look at. They have a competitions department, but I think that it goes beyond that, and it will not just be limited to the coronation. And I say this because why I want us to widen the scope has to do with, as it stands, apart from the Ghana Football Awards, there is no proper football awards ceremony organized by the Ghana Football Association. And I
think the GFA has its own. I think the GFA has its own awards. They've been doing that for a while. So you have the Ghana Football Awards.
Last season, I stand to be corrected, but last season there was no award ceremony organized by the GFA.
Well, I can't seem to remember if they did, but I know that they had done that. They didn't do it last season. Yes, but in previous season they've done so.
As I said, if they've
done last 2 seasons. Okay, yeah.
Committee or department, then they would have been in a position to run various initiatives that would add an extra boost to the competitions that they organize, because they are no longer just football competitions. Now it has become events. FIFA, in all its competence, has decided to add extra stuff to what they do. So what they are saying is that for the Club World Cup, there will be halftime shows and all that. So you need to evolve with the times, and then you need to upgrade as to how you do your stuff. So the FA has just a competitions department, and I think where they are lacking has to do with how they are able to transform most of their competitions or their products into proper events that will draw attendance or participation, not just from the footballing public, but also from those who love their entertainment and will want to try a different environment. So I am a music fan. You are bringing my favorite artist, maybe it is Wendy Shea, maybe it's Shatawale. For the coronation, if BPN Gold Stars are having Shatawale, I might be a Shatta fan, but not necessarily a BPN Gold Stars fan. And I live around that area. Definitely, I want to be part of that celebration. So I think that is where we need to get to. We need to migrate from just being football organizers, football competition organizers,
this is
proper football event organizers. That is where we need to get to. If we have that capacity, if we are in that situation, then we can properly plan and organize final day events. So we know that it is match day 34. But Asante Kotoko have won the league, then the FA together with Kotoko can come together and draw up a program to celebrate the occasion on the final match day, so that we will not need enough time to prepare for a coronation and then we piece all of these things together. So it is if we are to widen the scope of this conversation, then it should be the FA having a competent and a well-functioning events department or committee, and they team up with the competitions department just to make sure that they transform our football matches, just from football matches which are played for 90 minutes, into proper football event that gives you joy, satisfaction, or excitement before, during, and even in the aftermath of the games.
Interesting point there. Ray.
I mean, Nathan, for me, there's no event bigger than final day of the season, having your home supporters at the match venue, winning a game, having your trophy presented, having your medals presented, celebrating with the fans. There's no event bigger than that.
Yep.
It doesn't get any bigger. And Nathan, that whole coronation event, that is supposed to be an aside. That is supposed to be the crowning moment or the crowning occasion. Ask the players if they want to play that game.
SportyFM.
Ask the players if they want to exert energy for 90 minutes again before lifting their trophy. I mean, which player wants to play another game just to be crowned champion? Because we are going to have events. No. I mean, Nathan, for me, you see, I agree. I understand where Michael is coming from.
Yes,
but the event post the season is that possible trophy parade that maybe BNI Gold Stars will have in their enclave. That's another event on its own. Okay, so if you want a sporting event, final day of the season, with all the fans in there. That's one event. Another event is the trophy parade. So we saw Liverpool. We saw their trophy parade. And all the things that happened. We saw Bayer Leverkusen, like Bayern Munich. All of that. We've seen all the teams that have won titles this season and what they've done with it. I think it was Galatasaray. Did you see their celebration?
Yeah.
With the whole Osimhen in the sky.
The drone. Yeah.
No, look, Nathan, that is the event. And it's just once. There's only one final day of the season. Only one. And that's the day you beat whatever team you have to beat.
You win the league.
You win the league. Your title is presented to you. That event can only happen once. Okay. It's watered down. The other one is any other event you organize to present a title is watered down. Because the emotions won't be the same. Never.
So you are saying that there should have been a coronation last weekend. If maybe there's another event, maybe a parade,
trophy parade that Gold Stars would organize,
or like a party, a gathering, sort of, but not a coronation.
No.
You disagree with the idea?
No way.
Of a coronation
you see,
day.
this practice. You see, sometimes we create some things because of our own lazy approach, because of our laziness. This FA clearly have been lazy with the organization of this league. Otherwise, you see, it's just an excuse to run away from the problems you create yourself. One, I'm sure this week, before that coronation match, we'll see the judgment for the Nations FC, whatever.
I believe that judgment should have come sometime.
You see,
last
Nathan,
week.
we'll see it this week. And then it will clear the path for them to go and crown BBN Gold Stars champion. Really, it won't have stood in their way anyway. But because they were not proactive enough to deal with that matter at the time they were supposed to deal with it, they will now come and present a certain story, whatever, and come and tell us that, every hurdle has been cleared, so we are going to present BBN Gold Stars their trophy. But everything that has happened to make sure we've not presented the trophy on final day of the season. Last season in Samatex, did we present the trophy after they won? They received their trophy on the same day.
Same day, yeah.
Imota was there.
Yes.
Same day. Whatever challenges were there, sorted out. Final day of the season, they took their trophy, they enjoyed in Samurai Boy. That was it. But because the FA knows that they've created lots of problems, especially with that Nations FC decision. One. Yeah. Two. Because they did not want to invest in having trophies elsewhere. They didn't want to invest too. They will now wait to see the clear winner. All of these things, it's not as if they planned it too. They didn't plan it. They were waiting to see that, Gold Stars have won. We'll go and give them the trophy next week. That's what they wanted to do. They did not want to invest in anything on the final day of the season by taking a trophy somewhere, taking a miniature trophy somewhere, taking a dummy trophy somewhere. They were not interested in doing any of that. And that's why I'm saying all of these things. We are here because the FA has been lazy with the organization of this league. They've been very lazy. And that's why they will not come and hide behind, or they want to hide behind, let's have a separate event. Midema is a love team. And it is because of poor planning. Poor planning is the result. You see, this coronation match is as a result of poor planning. And the FA's refusal to invest in making final day of the season beautiful. And Nathan, imagine there were pictures of the trophy somewhere, videos of a trophy somewhere in Abrankese, trophy videos of... Nathan, just all the excitement. Just look at it. Because there was a trophy when we were watching the Man City game.
Yeah.
There was a trophy there. And there was a trophy with blue ribbons. There was a trophy with red ribbons somewhere. All waiting. You see, it all adds to the drama. But the FA don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to sell it.
I think that's what Michael was saying. Yeah. Michael, that's the point you were making about the event. So making it more than a game, but an event. And I agree with Ray that I think the FA could have played it in a very different way. Could have added to the drama. You have multiple trophies around, blah, blah, blah. By the time it gets to 90 minutes, you get an idea of whoever is getting crowned. You crown the person and we move on. Because personally, I just think that this idea of this extra game coronation thing, I think it takes something away from everything. Michael, because yesterday you were painting the picture for us yesterday. Just imagine the extra level of excitement had Gold Stars been crowned last week, what it would have meant on the day, right? What would have meant in terms of the occasion. Anyway, Michael, just your thoughts on, he's talking about gold stars and all, but personally, what other headlineable things did you take away from the entire Ghana Premier League season? If you away from gold stars winning, nations, for you, what other big ticket items or big ticket headlines, struck you as a general theme, from the season?
Permit me, if you would, because I don't think I've even exhausted the angles from BBN Gold Stars. The story of goalkeeper Emmanuel Kobe. He was a relegation battler last season. Can I say last season? Because this season has ended. Maybe last 2 seasons with Bofuakwata. And he just got onto the BBN Gold Stars wagon, and they've wheeled their path all the way to success. He's from relegation to Premier League champion, and I think it's a remarkable story to tell. It's the best comeback story that one can ever tell regarding Emmanuel Kobe, the young goalkeeper at BBN Gold Stars. And it is not just because he was any goalkeeper, it was also because his performances played a crucial part in the achievement that the club has been able to realize. He kept 18 clean sheets, which is the most recorded in the Ghana Premier League this season. They lost just 1 home game, and in that home game, he did not keep the post. It was goalkeeper Kusi who kept the post. So clearly, it tells you the impact of Emmanuel Kobe for BBN Gold Stars. And if there was any player under serious consideration for player of the season, I want to make a case for an outlier, because goalkeepers don't mostly get the mention in such conversations. And I'll have to factor in Emmanuel Kobe as one of my best players of the season. And I think that he should be in the top 3 for players who actually played a crucial role for their sides in terms of those who succeeded and those who even did not succeed. I think he deserves that mention as a likely Premier League player of the season. That aside, there is also a story of father and sons. And at BBN on Sunday, I had a conversation with former Kodoko player who also played for the then military team, SS 1974, former Army Stars, then Defense Stars, to SS 1974, Alex Kamara. He is the father of Charles Kamara Jemfi and then Elvis Opoku of Aduana Stars fame. Now, he, as a player of Kodoko, won the Ghana League, which was then the Division 1, which later changed into the Ghana Premier League. Then Elvis Opoku also won the Premier League with the Diana Stars. And then Kamara Jemfi, his son, has also won the league with BBN Gold Stars. And in my brief time on our football scene and then studying the books, I am yet to come to a certain data that speaks to a father winning the league title, his sons also winning the league title. I've never seen anything like that. And that is a beautiful story that I think should be told. And this year has actually been a very good year for him, Mr. Alex Kamara. He was also qualified Ashtown Ladies to the Women's Premier League. So it is a remarkable feat. And I think that is one of those stories that should also be told regarding how this Premier League season unraveled. The case of Frimpong Manson. And I think if Xabi Alonso earned a lot of plaudits or praise after he transformed Bayer Leverkusen from relegation stragglers into Bundesliga champions. I think in same vein, we need to shower praises to Frimpong Manson. He was with Bofuakwata. They did not allow him to finish the season, and he started that season very, very well. Eventually, he was sacked after some disagreements with management of the club. Then he was brought on board the BBN Gold Stars project. At the time when he was appointed, Gold Stars were battling relegation. He was able to salvage them in the season, and just after, he's won them their first ever Premier League title, which is a similar storyline with that of Bayer Leverkusen. Although, in the case of the BBN Gold Stars, they did not do it unbeaten. So, you have to look at some of these heroes who played crucial parts in the success story of the BBN Gold Stars. But that aside, if you have to look at the entirety of a 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League season, I would say that it was a good season competitively, but as regards standards, we can't speak volumes of good about the standard of the Ghana Premier League. I think that maybe we need to look at that. The league standard perhaps has dropped, but for the competitiveness, it was there. And that is how come you could see that the title was decided on the final day of the season. And for the very first time since the league changed into an 18-club league, the 3 newly promoted teams survived. They were not relegated. Baseke Holy Stars, Vision FC, Young Apostles, they all survived. They stayed in the Ghana Premier League, which hasn't happened since there was that change from 16 clubs to 18 clubs, which is a positive thing to also look at to back that case of the league being competitive, because they put up a solid fight to ensure their survival. And even for Vision FC, they had 45 points, which is more than an established club, former champion like Brecum Chelsea. Chelsea had 44, and then Vision had 45. So this season has been very competitive in terms of those who battled for survival and those who battled for the title. You would have to give it to them. And that tells you that the gap is narrowing from the Division 1 to the Premier League. If 3 Division 1 clubs are able to survive, it should tell you that they are closing the gap on those in the Premier League who mostly occupy the bottom spot, or they are occupying the middle table position. The Division 1 league clubs are catching up with them. And then for those who are also battling the title, it seems like there is a drop, then there is a rise, because Kodoko, since the league transitioned into an 18-club league, they are the ones who have accumulated the most points as title winners or champions. Kodoko has 67 points when Ogum won the title. Ghost Stars have 63, is the second most. The rest have lingered between 61 and 60. Hartlepool has 61, Mediama has 60, Samates has 61. So clearly it should tell you that in terms of the point haulage or the point accumulation, we are still hovering around the 60 column. And if Kodoko was 67, we expect that maybe it should have gotten to 70 by now. So there is a drop in the performance of the title contenders. And that is to also demonstrate why I believe standards have dropped. If standards had remained the same or appreciated, then the Division 1 league clubs would have struggled to catch up. But now they are catching up with the middle table. If standards were high, then those battling for the title would have appreciated in terms of their points tally. But they are dropping. So clearly it should tell you something. There is a drop in standard regarding the Ghana Premier League. Again, if I'm to elevate the conversation into another angle or dimension, then you will see, in terms of goal scoring, last season, Amankuna was a top scorer. He produced 19 Premier League goals. This season, he still won the top scorer, replicating something that Ishmaelado did it on a three-peat. Won it in 99, 2000, and 2001. But you could see that in the case of Ishmaelado, anytime he won the top scorer, he was increasing his goal tally. But in the case of Amankuna, he's done back-to-back, but he's dropped from 19 goals to 15 goals, a drop in 4 goals. So these are some of the issues that you can look at and say that maybe there's been a drop in performances in the performance levels of our respective clubs. And we need to look at how we can improve the standards of the league. For the competitiveness is there, but how to improve the overall standards in terms of the competition that we are witnessing, that is the Ghana Premier League.
Quite interesting. I'm happy you touched on the standards and the overall quality, because it's something that I think about very often. For example, if I look at title winning point hauls, for example, I can't remember the very last time we had a team amassing 70 and above. I'm sure you've also observed that these days to win the Ghana Premier League, you need about between 60 and 69 points thereabout to win. And it's been the case for a while. When you look at, teams that have won the league in previous years, 68, 67, 69. I don't know whether it's a quality problem. I don't know what it is, but personally, when I just look at the points numbers, I wonder if we'll be able to get teams that can amass bigger hauls. Anyway, moving on to another pattern that jumped out at me. A third winner from the broader western part of the country. So Mediama from Western Region proper. We have 2 league winners from Western North. Is there anything that's happening in that side of the country? Is it the food, water, air? What is it that's producing league winners from that part of the country? The last 3 winners have come from that part of the country.
I think multiplicity of factors, you can say. These are clubs who have solid sporting projects and they are heavily backed. And then 2, the traditional powers, as regards the Ghana Premier League, have dropped. And then the third force is no longer in the Ghana Premier League as it stands now, which was Obuasi Ashanti Gold. So you can look at these angles and you would come to that conclusion. But I think it's good for Western Region. Since 1977, when Azakes won the league, the Western Region had failed to elect a champion or produce a champion for Ghana's top flight. So when Midiama won it, it was a breath of fresh air. Samatex made a double joy. Now, Gold Stars have tripled it. And we need to look into these projects. Midiama is a private-owned club. It is owned by Mr. Mosizama, popularly known as Mos Parker. But he has able support from corporate entities, mostly within the mining enclave, who are willing to commit a portion of their CSR budget to push this football club to not just win success or achieve success, but also to put Tako on the map. And they did that beautifully. When they won the league, they went to play competition, a mini tournament sort of a friendly in the USA, and they sold Takwa and then Midiama. They also competed well in the CAF Champions League for a very long time. We finally had a Ghanaian club play in the group stage of the competition. So it was a beautiful story. Then the Samatex project. They were looking from close, from Sama Boy all the way in Takwa. They observed how the title win brought Takwa to life. They saw how it brought Takwa to prominence, and they decided to also commit to the project. The project at Sama Boy, in terms of Samatex FC, is a timber mining company, Samatex Company Limited. And they decided that they will also use the football club to sell Sama Boy and the company to Ghanaians and also the world. So that is what they also decided to do. But they had a solid sporting project. They recruited the right people. And that journey began right from the Division 1, bringing on board Ed Monaka from Enzima Kodoko, tapping into the expertise of Paul Anyaba from Sky FC. They put them together. And then the president of the club, Dr. Richard as the vision bearer, and the implementers were the 2 aforementioned names. What they did was that they decided to recruit strategically. So they looked within the Division 1, sought out for players who were top performing but were under the radar. Not a lot of clubs were looking at them. They brought them on board, the likes of Ebenezer Akwa and the rest, to just bolster their team. Even Ebenezer Afro. He was from Sky FC straight to Samatex. Eventually, he played to achieve that level of success to the extent that a Black Stars invite was extended to him. So that is to tell you the extent that Samatex went in terms of recruiting. But it wasn't just that. They also brought players who had Premier League experience but were on the fringes. Seydou Dawda Yusuf, who at the time Samatex were winning the league, was one of the best defensive midfielders on the scene. He's now in Rwanda playing for APRFC. Mm-hmm. He was on the fringes at Ash Gold. He wasn't playing that much. They brought him on board. Emmanuel Keyeke had then been released by Asante Kodoko. He joined Kodoko on a very marquee transfer from Karela United to play for them. He did not really pass the grade at Kodoko. He was released. Then Samatex grabbed him. Then he was the Premier League player of the season when they won the league. He was scoring goals and he was playing delightfully in the middle. So they decided to bring these players on board with Premier League experience to bolster the squad that they had in terms of the young players they had recruited. And they had a solid team. They produced the best offensive record. They had the best defensive record. And they lost just one game at home throughout the season that they won. But they wouldn't have been able to do this without the backing of the company, making sure there was enough resources for that. They went for preseason at Aqua Safari. And Aqua Safari is run by Richard G. and some partners.
Okay.
So it was much more like something belonging to the company. And so the extent that Samatex went was mostly because they had the backing to support whatever plan that they had put on paper. And it brought them that success. Then to the Gold Star story. They qualified to play in Ghana's top flight right from 2021. and had garnered enough experience. They had tried recruitments and brought on board several players, but they decided to change how things were being done. It was because they also looked from close, right at Summer Boy, what they were doing over there. And they brought on board Emmanuel Kobe, a top performing goalkeeper, but under the radar, his club had been relegated then. They brought him on board. Upon Abdul Farouk, who scored goals for them in their final game against Ankara, are merely Premier League debutants. They hadn't played the Premier League before. A similar story to that of Ebenezer Kwa, who I mentioned earlier in the summer test. They brought very young players hungry for success, willing to commit and work hard for the coach, and then they blended them with Premier League experience. Apia McCarthy, Vincent Atinga, and then also players who understood what Gold Stars was about. Their second goalkeeper, Kusi, their general captain, Yakubu Hag, they have been with Gold Stars right from Division 1 into the Premier League. So if you are looking for somebody to tell you the Gold Stars story, they have one in the dressing room. They have Atinga, Apia McCarthy, to also share that Premier League experience with them. And they have young blood who are willing to learn and then work extra hard. But then again, this would not have been possible without the backing of the company, Asante Gold Corporation. Asante Gold Corporation is the mining company. They operate in Chirano and then
This is SportyFM, the voice of sport.
Into the Gold Stars project, and they are willing to go that extra to ensure that they will go to Africa and compete fairly. So without these companies backing the project, the football projects being run by these respective clubs, I don't think they would have achieved that level of success. So yes, if Western Region have produced 3 champions on the trot, it is because they have sound financial backing to ensure that whatever solid football project they have will be actualized. Without this backing, it's not possible. Football is money, and without money, you can't achieve that level of success. So we have to give it to them. And to me, I think that it is also exposing another angle that corporate entities, companies can run solid CSR projects with our football clubs, especially those that are community-based football clubs. The best example is Obuasi, with Obuasi Goldfields, which later became Ash Gold. They achieved a lot of success. There was massive sporting infrastructure. Obuasi has a stadium now, and it's because of the Obuasi Goldfields project. Lenkley. Then there is even Ofori Stadium. Then there are other facilities which was made just because there was a football club operating in Obuasi. If you go to Summer Boy now, they have the Century Sports Complex, which is a befitting football park for the people of Summer Boy. Before Premier League, it wasn't up to that level, but now it's been upgraded to a level where Summer Boy has a befitting park to also host football tournaments or competitions. If you go to Takwa, there is a stadium, the new TNA Stadium, which is arguably the best facility now. If you go anywhere in Ghana, I don't think there is a stadium that meets up to the modernity of the structure at Takwa. And it was constructed by Goldfields. So you see that when corporate entities, as part of their CSR, invest into community-based clubs, they are bringing some level of sporting infrastructure to address the sporting infrastructure deficit we have in this country. They are also investing into talent to make sure that they drive through a certain social change positively, and then they are also bringing a certain level of success competitively, sporting-wise, to that particular community, and it puts that community on either the national map and even the continental map, or I dare say the global map. So I think that they've laid down the blueprint, and I believe that this is the way to go. Times past, there was Temagapoa, there was Dumas of GTP, there was Akosombo Textiles, there was Volta Juantes. A lot of companies had in the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah. And up until a few years ago, I'm just saying, up until a few years ago, you had teams like Power FC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Power FC with Bache for. Why I want to end is when we do this, we take the running of football clubs directly from individuals who have very limited resources and will not come and do it well, to proper corporate structures who will ensure that there are proper checks and balances. There is no meandering in terms of the books and all that. So you do things properly, and our clubs will play by the book. If we don't have that, and we allow individuals to dominate our league because they own clubs, I don't think it will bring the beauty that we expect. And it is high time that we get back to that era. If there was a police team playing in the Ghana Premier League, if there was an army team playing in the Ghana Premier League, don't you think it would have been long? Maybe immigrations as well. Players who play for immigration are directly enlisted. The players who play for the army team are enlisted in the military, police, the same thing. It helps us. It helps our game to grow. And I think that it would even increase the level of salaries that we pay here, because they will top it up. They will set a certain standard. And the FA can then raise the salary cap and say that, okay, if you are not able to pay up to this level, then you are not fit to play in the Ghana Premier League. I think that is the way to go from what I'll see. But what Asante Gold Corporation has done, what Samatex Timber Company Limited did, and what Goldfields and the other mining companies within Takwa did for Mediama, it is the best CSR project I've seen as regards a sporting project or a footballing project.
Well, interesting times. And I'm happy you've touched on the backing of the previous winners. So Mediama, Samatex, now Gold Stars. I guess this could be the way to go. We could be getting into a new chapter where teams that have strong backing financially and possibly, a corporate behind them could be the ones who start dominating. Let's see what the big teams have got to say. Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, the two traditional teams, the two traditional giants. Let's see what it is they have got to say in coming years. The pressure is on them to win the Ghana Premier League title again. They haven't done so in a while. The last three winners, as we said, have been quote-unquote newbies, or teams that are relatively young and very young in terms of Ghana football and their Ghana football existence. Michael, just finally, as we wrap it up on this season, what do you think is the biggest thing that must change from, say, an organizational perspective next season, i.e. the competition itself, refereeing, officiating? Or what do you think the biggest change must be when next season kicks off, whenever it is, sometime in September or so, for the 2025-2026 Ghana Premier League campaign?
Well, the first one would be coverage. And I think behind the scenes, assurances have been given that talks are far advanced and next season coverage will be better. But I think that one major challenge that the Premier League faced had to do with coverage, excellent coverage. And the coverage for this season was very average. I understand Globe TV, Alpha TV, I think Metro, they did their best, but I don't think it was enough. And I don't think it was up to the standard expected to give the league that kind of publicity and then give it that kind of appeal. I don't think we witnessed that. So coverage from the start, it needs to improve. I remember a conversation I had with a top football official when they visited Kumasi, and I told him that if it gets to crunch, the FA should just decide that it is best that they go broke than sit and allow for their primary product not to be given that kind of appeal in terms of coverage. Why don't they procure quality standard 4K cameras? Maybe you get like 12, you identify certain locations where you prioritize on providing coverage on your own. So you stream across YouTube or your respective social handles just to help in terms of the coverage for the league. And it is something that even CAF, FIFA are doing. FIFA have their own channel now, and they stream most of these juvenile tournaments live. CAF does same, just as they did for the Under-20 AFCON, which is streamed across their YouTube platforms and the others. I think it is the way to go. It is your product. You need to grab it and make the most out of it. And it would even help in terms of upgrading the level of coverage that we are currently getting. And so that was a suggestion I gave. But the assurance was that they were far advanced with talks with some other TV companies. And I think that from next season, it will be better than we did see. But I think if there was one thing that needed changed as a result of this conversation, coverage is number one. Two, I think we've still not grown in terms of how we organize our competitions. We take it as just a football match, and that should change. It is not just a football match now, because the new generation of football fans will need more than just football matches. They will need more than just excitement during 90 minutes. There should be something that pulls them to the respective match venues. And we need to understand that football is now entertainment. It is a showbiz. You need to organize it well. So don't just go about your duty thinking it is just a football match. Oh, let's do a pre-match meeting and we are done. No, we need to make sure that our Ghana Premier League venues are venues that bring excitement. There should be something around the particular location that should be felt on the match day. If you go to Bibiani, it is a town full of joy, full of excitement. What can you tap into the typical Bibiani contest, imbibe into their games, and then help it to grow? So in the first place, the FA themselves need to build their own capacities before they think about building the capacities of clubs to better organize or to better host matches. And I think it is the way to go. We need to find ways to improve how we organize games. It will help us. Then I also think commentary on the Ghana Premier League ought to improve. And this goes to us as the media guys. I love what Sporty we did, how we provided coverage on the Ghana Premier League. And I am not bragging, I'm not boasting. I think that maybe then other media houses will also need to step up to increase or improve the level of coverage that we provide regarding the Ghana Premier League. We should go beyond just going to the stadium, 90 minutes run entry, and it ends there. I think together with the GFA, the media can bring out a lot of products regarding the Ghana Premier League and make it all exciting. The GFA themselves should run an efficient highlight show of the Ghana Premier League. Media houses should have more GPL-oriented content, and the GFA must agree to get these clubs to be in agreement with what these media houses would love to do. Because oftentimes you put together a plan, a program, or a project, and you just be frustrated by the clubs not eager to participate. Their unwillingness to engage with you and all that. It kinds of kill any kind of excitement or interest that you have. So I think we can also help to push the game up there, but the FA needs to get in there. Then attendance, how can it improve? One thing that happened this season that I was not so happy with had to do with the loss of a life. It should never happen that we play a football game in Ghana, a fan goes there, and then it's stabbed to death. This is a big dent on the reputation of the Ghana Premier League. And if the FA were making efforts to take the Premier League to the levels they expect, that particular incident, that single incident, drew them back like 5 steps. So if they are taking 7 steps, it means they are now 2 steps in terms of their own plan. And we should make sure that issues of safety and security are not compromised. Even in the aftermath of that unfortunate incident, just recently, there was a case of Basekeholi Stars Nations FC.
Yeah.
So it means that even if we have the documents and everything, implementation is an issue, commitment to it is an issue. And I expect the FA to drum home this point, get the clubs to actually buy into it. And every Premier League club should understand that there is zero tolerance for anything hooliganism or violence. So if you go there, you sense, then you back off. You don't go and play the game and decide that, okay, I have played the game to this minute, so I will discontinue because I am not safe.
SportyFM.
These things need to be enforced right from the start. And I think that we can help ourselves. But I will end with this. The Ghana Premier League cannot be better if the clubs do not change themselves, if the clubs do not upgrade themselves, if the clubs do not build their own capacities. There's little that those outside the circle can do. Those within the circle need to first take the bull by the horn, and then the rest will follow. If they fail to do that, we will try to paper over the cracks, but eventually the crack will reveal, and then it will just showcase that we've not actually done a good job in terms of promoting the Ghana Premier League brand and making it a successful one.
Wonderful. Michael, thank you so much for your thoughts. 2 minutes after 9. That's how we will wrap it up on the Ghana Premier League chit-chat. I mean, during the week, we'll still talk about that, talk about other themes from the season. This is still the Sporty Breakfast. Let me give you a few quick announcements and then we take some music. Now you have to get ready. Why? Because the stars are coming to your community. This is during the 4th edition of the All-Star Festival. Lights up the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. It's the Southern Sector Stars versus the Northern Sector Stars, a clash of international and home-based players. And there's a brilliant list of players who are coming. Thomas Partey, Felix Ohene, Afinajan, Suleimana Ibrahim, Nicolas Opoku. Hey, Nicolas Opoku is still around. Hearts of Oaks, Benjamin Asare, Kwame Poku, Osman Ibrahim, the Ghana Premier League top scorer Stephen Amankuna, and many others will be there. Your favorite music, media, and movie stars will all be there. And it's a midweek 10. It's happening on the 18th of June. Wednesday from 4 p.m. at the University of Ghana Stadium in Legon. The All-Star Festival is more than football. Join the stars for a full festival experience. Health walk with the stars, community derby, an open bus ride through the city, football, culture, and showbiz at its very best. The tickets go for 100 CDs, 50 CDs, and 30 CDs. The stars are coming to town. Now, celebrated Ghanaian luxury watch brand Caveman Watches has announced a 10% price reduction across all full price collections for the month of June in direct response to the recent appreciation of the cedi. Now, the cedi's strengthened performance in recent weeks is already triggering a wave of positive economic ripples across the retail sector, and businesses like Caveman Watches are leading the charge in passing cost savings to customers. Now, Caveman is a globally recognized luxury brand crafting premium handmade timepieces that combine timeless elegance with African heritage, and they are offering premium timepieces at more accessible prices. And of course, Caveman Watches are known for the blend of Swiss movement technology and African craftsmanship. Go and get yourself a Caveman timepiece today. Call 0557 516744 or get information from their social media handles at Caveman Watches across social media. Their website is cavemanwatches.com. Now, this Sunday is happening the unforgettable final of the 2025 MTN FA Cup campaign. Golden Kick take on Asante Kotoko. Who wins? Will it be a Division 1 side? Will it be a Premier League side? What is hanging in the air is a ticket for the CAF Comfort Cup competition. And there's a wonderful curtain raiser between the Hearts of Oak legends and Asante Kotoko legends. Come around and see the players you have heard the journalists talk about. See them in the flesh, and they will let you enjoy some great football. And it's a fully loaded Father's Day entertainment package. DJ Love to be there, and Kojo Manuel, the turn up. Kojo Manuel, the killer, will be there. Kojo Manuel, if you want the hype man who can make things happen, it is Kojo Manuel. He will be there on Sunday. Kickoff is at 2:45. That's for the Legends game, and for the main MTN FA Cup final between Asante Kotoko and Golden Kick, that is kicking off at 5 p.m. It is indeed an unforgettable MTN FA Cup final suite. Bring your friends and family and workmates to the University of Ghana Stadium this Sunday, 15th June, for this unforgettable final. Proudly brought to you by MTN. And the EMI Africa Expo is back. It's bigger and it's better and it's bolder. It's happening between the 19th and the 22nd of June at the Accra International Conference Center. It doesn't matter which space you are in. You are in the automotive space, fashion, tech, real estate, sports, health, finance, agribusiness, travel, lifestyle, or anything in between. This is for you. Come around, network, meet some great people, see what others are doing in that space. Call 0302-738-727 or 020-201-8870. EMY Africa Expo 2025. Show up, stand out, and scale up. All right, let's take some music. Let's take a spot of music. And then when we come back, we'll give you the Alcon Minute. Remember that the African Women's Championship or the African Women's Cup of Nations is happening in July. And we are building up here on SportyFM. So on a daily, tune in to listen to us as we give you the Alcon Minute as a way of building up fun facts, trivia, great info, great stories from the Alcon put together in under a minute so you can enjoy. So we'll take some music. When we come back, we'll do the Alcon Minute. And then we'll talk a bit about the Euro World Cup qualifiers. Today we'll take your call, so we'll open the phone lines a little later to hear from you. 054-257-1061, 054-257-1061. You can send your WhatsApp messages as well. And we'll be opening the phone lines a little later. This is the Sporty Breakfast. My name is Nathan Kwa. Raymond Yamado is here. Kelvin Owusu is joining us. The production team is still in place. We are running up until 9:45 or so. We'll be right back. Enjoy some music. When we come back, we have a few more things to do before we call it a morning.
You're locked onto Sporty 106.1 FM in Accra, 91.3 FM in Kumasi, and 102.5 FM in Takrady. Sporty.
World Cup qualifiers in Europe. Very, very interesting results there. The Italians got back to winning ways after losing to Norway. Ray and Kelvin, Charlie, I read the uproar in Italy after they lost 3-0 to Norway. People were angry. They said, what kind of performance is this?
You see, Nathan, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised the Italians are going through it.
Oh, why not surprised?
SportyFM.
Why not
You
surprised?
know, they've always had errors. You know, they've always had an era where they have some of the finest players, experience-wise, quality-wise. Then they struggle with having a coach who can get the best out of these players to deliver results.
Okay.
So if you look at this Italian national team, since Lippi won the World Cup, if my count is not mistaken, they've changed about 6 or 7 coaches. Since Lippi won the World Cup, if you check the list, the number of coaches who have come in and gone, they've been consistent with changing coaches. What shocks me is that
FM.
they have star quality. So Nathan, if you have the list, you can just take me back to when Lippi won the World Cup.
Marcello Lippi.
Yes.
Marcello Lippi. So
Yes.
that was
And
2006.
the coaches after
Okay,
him.
so Donadoni,
Yes.
06 to 08. Lippi came back, 08 to 2010.
Yes, it didn't work.
They've done Prandelli, Antonio Conte, Gianpiero Ventura, Luigi Di Biagio. I think he was an interim.
Yeah.
Bobby Mancini, and then Spalletti.
So that brings the count to
So Donadoni, Prandelli, Conte, Ventura, Di Biagio, Mancini, and Spalletti 7.
yes.
I didn't add Lippi 2.
Yes. So no. Okay. Yes. So let's take Lippi to her. So Nathan, you look at the quality of players they have, and how consistent they've been with changing coaches, and that is where the Italian problem is. That is where the problem is. So they've struggled to find an identity for themselves. But in the past, we knew the Italians rock solid, Catanaccio, keep it very tight at the back. Then they decided to add a bit of flair to their game. They got confused along the way. Which manager can best play it? Donadoni and the likes have come, Mancini and the likes have come, Conte and the likes have. Everybody has come. Even Spalletti has come. He's gone. So who can do this job? Who can get them to play very solid defensive game and still add a bit of flair to it? So it's been one issue or the other. They've struggled. Coaches have come in, tried to play a 3-5-2. Coaches have come in, tried to play the 4-4-2. Coaches have come and played 4-4-3. So that whole setup has been confused, and it's confused the players in the long run.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised the Italians are struggling, and they would struggle. The last time we saw them play very well was at the Euros when they beat England in the finals. I think then it was
Mancini.
And Mancini, how Mancini won that trophy, he played,
This is SportyFM.
in fact, he played a brand of football that suited the players. They were not too exciting to watch, but they were efficient. Up until the finals, where they found a way to win the trophy and all. So, a lot of the problems of the Italians are put at the doorsteps of coaching, and how they've not been consistent with coaching and not found the style of play that to suit the players they have. Nathan, you look at this Italian team. Donnarumma in post. There's Bastoni. There's Di Marco. There's Tonali. There's Fratesi. There's Cambiaso. There's Raspadori, Retegui. And Retegui, for me this season, he scored lots of goals for this club side Atalanta. If you watch his performances this season, he was very decent for Atalanta. Scored 25 goals, 8 assists. You can't tell me if this man is up front for Italy. Italy do not have a good goal scorer. They do.
But could it also not be? Well, you mentioned fit. Maybe Spalletti's style and maybe the crop too didn't work.
Yes. So it has been style. It has been coaching changes. So coaches so there are players there.
Yes.
Which coach can get the best out of the players? Mancini did that with the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
He got the best out of the materials he had then.
Mm-hmm.
Then a new coach comes in. He brings in a group that he believes will be the future stars for the Italians because of their performances in the league. They also come in, clearly struggle. So, I mean, you look at the Italian problem and it's certainly not a player quality problem.
SportyFM.
It's clearly a coaching problem. How the coach would shuffle the pack. And so, don't be surprised if Mancini returns. Okay, don't be surprised if Mancini returns because he knows how to do a job. So coaches like Mancini, coaches like Ancelotti, coaches like Lippi, they are specialists. They can come in, do a job for you, get you to the World Cup. Go to the World Cup, do a job at the World Cup, get you to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. But anytime they've tried to go for a coach thinking of the future, it hasn't worked.
Let me read you a few quotes that Spalletti said, or something he said. He said, quote, if you agree to coach the national team like I did, then you have to find the solution. You can't hide behind the fact that you have few players. You start to find alibis. I did badly, and in some ways, it is right that I go home. But I didn't resign because I think I can do better. But if I'm told that I'm no longer the one, then I signed the resolution. I left the national team as when I found it, just as it is. Okay? And he says, I tried to shake things up. When I arrived, but then maybe it was worse from what we saw. You realize whether you did right or wrongly only later. I tried some things and worked hard. I wish all the best to the federation and to the new coach who will arrive.
You see.
So Spalletti seems to think that there's something. He said he found the team, or he's leaving the team as he found it. He tried to shake things up, but it was worse from what we saw, or what he saw.
Yeah. You see, I can understand Spalletti. Spalletti was trying to build for the future. And if you look at his squad, he had lots of very young players in there. So you look at somebody like Fratesi. Fratesi, he's been through the ranks when it comes to playing for the Italian national team. He's been under 20, he's been there and about. One of the young boys you would want to bring in. Then you look at another one, Samuel Ricky.
SportyFM.
All of these boys, he was trying to bring them in. Just to try. Even Retegi is a young man. So now you look at the experienced ones too, the older heads. Then you quickly go to the likes of Achebi, who really never got looked at in the squad. He never looked at Achebi because he felt he was too old. But these are the rock solid guys in that team that will do the job for you. So when you have a back line of Ranieri, Bastoni, and Bastoni is having to play in defense for Italy. When we know, he's not your most reliable. I mean, he'll do a good job for you, but at a certain level, he's not your man for defense. But this is an Italian national team that once had some top defenders.
I think the problem with this Italian team is, the pool of the talent, and for them to realize that with the talents that we have, or with the kind of players that we have, we should play a game that will suit them. We shouldn't go the typical Italian style. Remember those times when you had Cannavaro, you had Materazzi, you had Fabio Grosso, you have Zambrotta, in midfield you have Gennaro Gattuso, you had Bonucci, Pello. You see, even in the defense, later on you had Bonucci, Bazzagli. You get Camoranesi. Those times, these were players who could just give you that catenaccio and still perform well, because up front you have a certain Totti who wasn't even great in the Italian national team jersey. You had a Del Piero who at times was even seated on the bench. You had a Luca, Christian Vieri, who later you had a Luca Toni. You get it. So it's I think a different set, because if you have someone like Moise Kean leading your attack, you have the likes of Nyonto and all. Look at diminutive figures, and you should have a game plan that will suit them. It's the way that the Spaniards have modernized their game. They are like, no, we are technicians of the game. why should we play like any other person? It's like Gareth Southgate, and when he managed to get the England team, many were asking questions. Why is this player on the bench? Why is this player on the bench? But he didn't want to repeat the mistake Ericsson made back in the 2006, 2007, 8, there when he was just lumping all the players together in that midfield, when actually you could have benched some and played some. But Gareth Southgate did that perfectly. Unfortunately, he couldn't win a trophy. But if you look at the progression of the English team, you just realize, come on, he was using players based on the merit and a game plan that would actually suit the kind of players that he had, because he realized, come on, these players want to, touch the ball a lot more times. Unlike your typical English boys, pass the ball to Beckham, bang. You get it. So I think they should understand the players that they have now and model a game
that would suit them.
But Kevin, if they fail to do that, it won't work for them.
Kevin, so let me take you to Euro 2020.
Yeah.
Listen to the Italian squad. There's still Donnarumma in post. There was Giovanni Di Lorenzo, who is still with the team. But there was Bonucci, there was Chiellini, there was Palmieri. Chiellini, Bonucci are no longer part of the squad. So you have to find your defenders who are not as good as Chiellini and Bonucci, but are decent defenders, who are now even ball-playing defenders.
Yes.
Then you have Palmieri, and there's Nicolo Barella, there's Jorginho. There was, in that starting lineup, there was Jorginho, there was Nicolo Barella, there was Verratti. Verratti is no longer in the equation. There was Chiesa, there was Insigne, there was Immobile.
This is SportyFM.
Immobile out, Insigne out. Chiesa struggling to sort himself out, sort his platform. Then you go to the bench. There was Berardi, there was Bernardeschi, there was Belotti, Locatelli, Florenzi, Cristante. So all these boys, most of these boys, I think about 70% of the squad moved on along the way. Italy struggled to replace some of these boys. Decided to look to the future and see which young boys can come in. But these young boys cannot play your typical rugged football to get results. That efficient game Mancini was playing. He can't get a lot of these boys to play because these boys have added flair to their game. How the Italians diluted their style of play is the same way the Brazilians also diluted their style of play. That's why they are both struggling. So it's their coaching. Find a coach who suits these boys. Find a coach who can get the best. Because really, you can't tell me the Italians don't have talent. They do.
Maybe.
But these talents need to play in a certain way to get results. And a lot of it will depend on who manages them. Not Spalletti. Certainly not Spalletti. For me, that Spalletti choice was, well, he won the league with Napoli, all of that.
I'll tell you what.
I mean,
Philip Lahm, right?
Yeah.
Ex-German player. He wrote a column for The Guardian.
Yeah.
And in his estimation, he says Italian teams cannot cope with modern football's intensity.
Well,
so the Italians have the talented players, but they are struggling to match the intensity of the modern game. The game is quicker, it's more physical, it's more intense, and it doesn't look like the Italians can match that. And I think I understand his point. I watched them play that game against Norway. They woke up after 80 minutes. By that time, the damage had been done. The Norwegians were quicker, stronger, more ruthless, and they played with a certain hunger the Italians didn't show on the day. I guess maybe that's the point Spalletti is making us to finding or leaving the team in the state in which he found it, because clearly the levels of intensity haven't improved. Now, most teams play against Italy and they know that if we up the tempo a little, there could be joy. Meanwhile, when the Italians decide to turn it up, they can really play some very, very good football. But I guess they don't do it often.
So you see, that's what I keep saying. It's the players. When you look at his squad. It's the coaching.
Yes.
It's the coaching. When you look at his squad, he has very decent players in there. Average age, you would find around 24, 25. Average age for this current Italian team. Very talented guys in there. But when it comes to executing, doing the job, in that 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1 formation, whatever he tries to play, it just doesn't work.
So what do you think is? Do you think it's quality or what?
It's
Lam is saying
coaching. For me, a lot of it has to do with coaching. Because when we saw Italy play at the Euros, he had a lot of experienced players in that squad.
Which one? The most recent one?
Yeah, the most recent, 2020, when they won the Euros.
Okay.
They had a very, very experienced squad. So the experience got them to. They didn't play the best football at the tournament. I don't think they did.
I think they were very smart with what they did.
And Mancini, with the kind of brains he had, found a way to get the job done. Today, Inter Milan have Acerbi in their fold, still playing. But our good friend Spalletti won't look at him because he feels he has to give the chance to the young ones to go. So you put the likes of Bastoni in there. You put the likes of Coppola. You know Coppola, Diego Coppola. He plays for Verona. No, these are the players he would like to have in his team. And then you look at that middle of the pack. He had this boy, Nicolo Rovella. He plays for Lazio. These are not players, you know, when you look at Inter, these are not players who hurt you immediately. But these are the players he wants to use. And these players do not have the thick skin, you know, at that national team level, they are not there yet. And the likes of Tonali, who are supposed to blood them in, also do not have that experience yet. You know, Tonali is not that player you'd say has lots of experience playing national team football. Then the closest person who has been around the team for a bit is Barella. But Barella is not your talker. So a lot of the young boys will go into games and, well, the hunger may not be there, you know. And where is the Chiellini, where is the Bonucci to shout at that player? You get it. Where is that charismatic player on the pitch to do the job? And then everybody would have to look at the coach. What's the coach doing? So once you don't have those players, those Bonucci, Chiellini on the field, you now look back to the coach to do the job on the field, to get his on-field generals to do the job.
I see.
And clearly it's not working. That's what I'm saying. At this point, if the Italians will have to make a decision, stick to playing with your old men. Get a few. Oh yeah, that's it. Get your experienced men in there. Get the young boys.
Experience, but you just made the point that they don't have enough of that experience to throw around.
They do, but
okay.
But Spalletti wasn't looking in their direction.
So you'd rather he looks at
otherwise, Damian should be part of this squad.
Matteo Damian.
Acerbi, good. You see.
I guess.
When he plays for Italy, he's a different player. Acerbi should be part of this team.
Yeah.
But he decided to look forward. You know, yes, let's progress. Let's move beyond some of the old heads, the experienced ones. But you need it. So once you don't have a lot of these experienced boys in, and that's why Italy have thrived on all these years. With when the Cannavaro and the likes, just look at that squad.
Yeah, but
Grosso and Co. And most of those players,
but that squad was
we never saw a lot of them after that tournament.
Yeah, but they were on their last leg.
So
but
the experienced ones have done the job for them in the past.
Yeah, but that squad had the players who were bang on form, right?
Yes.
You had Kelvin. You had players who have. Luca Toni went into the 06 World Cup. Was I think top scorer.
Yes.
Yeah. In the Serie A Capo Cannoniere.
Yes.
And then you had Camoranesi was still in form.
Why is Moiskin not playing?
Sorry.
Why is
Moiskin in terms of this recent Italian team?
Yeah.
So that is why I think that even with managers, I don't think they've appointed the best of hands with regards to the profile of the players that they have.
Aha. Okay.
On any day with the modern game and then talking about intensity, if anyone in the Italian Federation had read what Lam wrote and they are looking forward to getting the best out of the current players that they have, the best person or the best people you need to go for, you go for Gianpiero Gasperini. Don't allow him to move to another club side. But he has moved on to Roma. He understands.
So I think they should have brought him
or Ranieri. Ranieri is cut in that mold. Because if you look at that team he built at Leicester City and even the current AS Roma team, you don't see overwhelming performance. But he's oiled that machine.
According to rumors in Italy, he's being considered a Ranieri.
Now as it stands now,
it looks like he's probably the only option.
And then they are also talking about Pioli. But I say if they give the team to Pioli, then they'll go 1,000 years back.
Nathan,
why
should Ranieri take this job? He'll bring back a lot of the old men.
This is SportyFM.
Because you see that's the Italian thing. It's an Italian thing that look, the young boys.
But the game has changed.
The young boys need the headmasters on the field because it's almost like, you see, the Italians value national team collapse, so just like the Brazilians do. So it's almost as if these days they see all sorts of players joining the national team. All sorts of players. Oh, this guy plays at Lazio, Polo and Co. Verona. Nathan, back in the days, you would find only a handful of players who don't play for AC Milan Inter playing in the national team. But these days, we say the talents are spread across. Mm-hmm. But when those players come in, what do we get from them?
Yeah, but those are the players they have. So the likes of Fratesi and whoever, that's who they have.
So Fratesi like this, he's one for the future. He's not there yet. So he needs a bit of time.
But they don't have an in-between.
In between.
Then who do they have right now? If you are saying Fratesi is for the future, who can they play now? Who right can now, give Italy goals?
Nathan, go. No,
where
ask for goals.
Where is Moiskin?
No, ask for goals.
Yeah, you see,
ask for goals.
I agree with you on the Moiskin thing. I'm only using this point to counter Ray.
Ask for goals. Ask for goals. The Italians don't have problems when it comes to goals. Because Retegui, based on his numbers, I don't think he's a bad goal scorer at all. In terms of numbers, he was one of the guys who scored 25 goals in the Serie A, 8 assists. In terms of his striking ability, he plays for Atalanta. We also saw his performances. Very good striker. So I don't think they have a striking problem. Even when Immobile and Insigne and the likes were there, Italy, they didn't score so many goals for Italy. The goals were coming from even the middle of the park. The goals were coming from headers and all. Defense evenly spread. The problem for me is how the Italians have not been able to manage their defense and their midfield. Get it to be a well-oiled midfield and defense to push them, because Italians have not. They've never really relied on their attacking prowess to dominate games or win games. Solid defensive line, very good midfield to push them forward, but they don't have it again. The only player in that team who would give you that to a certain extent is the Inter Milan boy,
Barella.
The rest of his supporting cast, no way. That was for Spalletti's team. The rest of the supporting cast, you look at them, there was still Zappacosta even in the squad. There was still Zappacosta in his team.
If you look at the midfield that played yesterday, for example, the midfield 5. Let me just list them from one end to the other. Cambiasso, Fratesi, Ricci, Tonali, and Di Marco.
So that's the new coach.
So this is
so he handled
last game.
He handled his last game. Yes.
So if you look at the midfield 3, the pure midfield 3, Fratesi, Ricci, Tonali, front 2, Raspadori and Retegui.
Then in the Norway game, he played Tonali, Udogi, Rovella, Barella, Zappacosta. You see, he kept doing all sorts of funny things with that midfield, trying all sorts of things just to get it to work. You see, so I mean, for Italy is the coaching. Sort out the coaching issues. They have very good players who can do their job, without doubt.
Anyway, no, they're players just like they are not extremely or overly talented, but they have a good squad.
They have a good squad.
If Norway with Odegaard and Haaland and how do you call it? There's this guy. No, is it Norgard?
Norgard is Denmark.
There's this other striker who Charlotte.
Yes, Alexander Solo.
Yes, if they are playing with those guys and then they put together a very solid team, I don't see how Italy should struggle in putting a good team. If you have Tonali, Barella, you have Fratesi, you have Federico Chiesa,
it's a good pool.
I don't think it's bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Fine, DiMarco and the likes, other players may have lost form, but I think it's a very good pool that you at least player for player. And that is why I say coaches do everything. You may have the best quality players, but if you don't have a good coach, or if you don't have a coach who is willing to listen and do the right things, it becomes difficult. Ghana never lacked talent. Our coach came to tell us that we don't have talent that is up there. Meanwhile, our players were performing top level football in Europe. But when he decided to understand that these are the players I have, let me develop a model with them. Maybe Joseph Lohmann and the other were not advising him properly. But when he had Schaefer, Desmond, they've let him know to the point that he played 2 number 10s, which he's normally against, because he prefers to have 2 DMs. Meanwhile, you are an offensive-minded, thinker. So I think that is what they need to do. Look at Spain and how they've modeled their game. They just don't care about it. if we play a false nine. It started from Aragon, and then they just realized that you don't need a center forward to win trophies. Now Oyataba, who is a number 10, a proper CAM, is now playing as the lead marksman. Merino at times gets in there and he delivers. You get Zubimendi, and it's like Pedri is the one sitting and Zubimendi is doing the box-to-box running around, when they were actually thinking Zubimendi is the one so it's just a matter of getting, things right and getting to know that these are the players I have. Let me just suit them with this kind of model of play that they have to do. But yes, someone special is listening. Yes, a man who has me at heart. He bought me Birkenstock years ago. Those bags. I still wear them. Sunday, if you saw me wearing, a brown bag, yes,
brown bag, yes.
Yes. So, Kwesi, thank you so much. Thanks for listening to us. Yes, me that I know.
Anyway, other results from last night: Kazakhstan 0, North Macedonia 1, Belgium 4, Wales 3. That was an exciting game. Belgium led 3-0. Wales put it back to 3-3, but Kevin De Bruyne made it 4-3 for Belgium. So
that was quite an interesting game, and I wasn't expecting even Wales to pull that surprise. But I think it was a resilient, performance. Craig Bellamy is doing something good, and especially with this, Wales team. And Belgium have only played just 2 games because they were also involved in the Nations League at some point, and they had to miss some, qualifiers. But the sort of team that Craig Bellamy is putting up, just like I said, if Craig Bellamy is able to put together Ben Davies, Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu, Meffen, Robert, David Brooks, Jordan James, Harry Wilson, Soba Thomas, and then Brennan Johnson to put a fight, and the kind of play that they put up wasn't just bad. It was very good, very, very good. Just that, Belgium are always devastating because they have players who just kill the game off, and I think it was a very good battle. Unfortunately for them, they just had to lose it at the last end. And Nathan, I think Twitter or social media has been so unfair to Romelu Lukaku. But that gentleman has been phenomenal. His numbers, his achievement, his, how regular he is for both club and country. And I think that maybe his style of play is something that doesn't suit, lots of people, because when that generation which inherited were fading out, that was a generation that had beautifully made strikers, center forwards. So when he decided to take over, it was more like, come on, we've seen the likes of David Villa, we've seen the likes of Thierry Henry, we've seen the likes of Didier Drogba, Fernando Torres, Sanz, and all that. And this is what you people are giving us. So it was more difficult for people to accept him. But I think he's been exceptional. Just look at his numbers and his ability, and I think that he just has a lot more credit. Hasn't been given to him enough. And for Belgium, I still think they have lots to do. Rudy Garcia yesterday, he was angry at a point. He had to even get a yellow card. Frustrated after Wales equalized. I don't know what is wrong with Belgium, and whether it's coaching or whether it's the attitude of the players. If managers are constantly being changed, but they're still not getting what they want. Remember, just after Roberto Martinez left, Domenico Tedesco took up the team. It was a mess, and now Rudy Garcia has just taken over, trying to work out the match. But even with him, he's still having questions as in how his team can actually play better. But if you have players like Leandro Trossard, Jeremy Doku, Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Telema,
pool is a very, very, very good pool. So
talented, Connie De Winter, you have Dodi Lukibakio, you have Rashkin, Sailmakers. They have lots of Lois Openda and all that. All these players are there. So I still don't understand their struggle, but it's just a warning to them that they still have a lot more games to catch up, because currently on the table, though they have 2 games to play to match up with Wales and then North Macedonia. North Macedonia have 8 points. They've just dropped, I think, 4 points, and then Wales also with 7 points. So if Belgium manage to win their outstanding 2 games, they climb to the summit of the table, and then they would be leading that pack and will be in pole position to qualify for the World Cup. So it was quite interesting to see, those 2 games yesterday.
Well, Belgium winning 4-3. In other results, Croatia 5, Czechia 1, Estonia 0, Norway 1, Faroe Islands 2, Gibraltar 1, and Italy 2, Moldova 0. So all of that is in the Euro World Cup qualifiers. lots of the teams are yet to play properly. For example, if you go to Poland's group, there are some games. Some games have been played. Bosnia's group H, there are some games. Group I, there are some games. Group J as well. Group K, which is England's group, there are also games. And Group L, there are games as well. For groups A, B, C, D, E, and F, those matches are yet to be played. But, in Europe, they'll get those matches done very quickly. And we'll have an idea who will potentially qualify for the next World Cup. All right, let's open the phone line. 054-257-1061. Let's take a few calls this morning. 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. There's already a caller on the line. Hello? Okay, not yet. We'll open the phone. Or we are opening the phone line. 054-257-1061. What's on your mind? We've been talking about the Ghana Premier League, Euro qualifiers, and all. So I don't know what it is that's on your mind.
Listen, do you know Arsenal may miss out on Šeško and then even Zubimendi, because Real Madrid are trying to work behind the scenes to get Zubimendi for the Club World Cup.
Well, I think he'll go to Arsenal.
By the time you realize, Alonso would have snapped him.
No. Let me tell you. I think he'll go to Arsenal. Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Nate.
Okay, please go ahead.
I will speak let me start. When you and Yamato were speaking, you were talking about fitness.
Yep.
If you can call Ivoire. You interviewed this boxer, I think in the 90s, Ali Baba. I don't know if you remember his name, Ali Baba.
Yeah, Alex Ali Baba. I think I remember his name.
He said when you go to Beijing and want to go to any gym, any time that you go there, you go and meet an instructor there that is ready to help you. Now it is here. I don't know that our leaders are wicked. When you are going to play a ball, let's take a place like Neymar or Ashiyama, and then they have seen their foot this in the Astro Tape over there. You will play before. How many children, a Coco Seller child, can afford that? It's like when the middle class people, they started getting up, then they went to say the downtrodden was to the minimum. I did not have to express myself. Widows and others, they all started in Nima. They played in this place, this park, Monster. Free, FIE. Now, if you want to go and play, you have to pay before. How many people can afford? We have a long way to go. Even in this country, the man said we have planning. When we go to the office, what are you planning? You don't have even when you are working, you don't have a walkway from Accra to Kumasi. You don't have even a path that somebody can even trek to Kumasi. I'm not saying that we should have a plan like that. Where is the plan?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much for your call. 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. Let me take this caller. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Clement from Ethiopia.
All right, Clemens, please go ahead.
Okay. Based on the assessment today, everything is going on well, but concerning the Ghana Premier League, we have a long way to go. Sometimes it's not like we don't want to watch our league though, but this stuff, the things that goes on in the league does not make the league so exciting, because these players that we have, it's not like they lack maybe the talent. We've got talent. The other day I was listening to you on the Ball Up talk. He was interviewing a certain Ghanaian guy who plays in, I think, the Spanish league. And he was like, we have the talent. He was very good, and based on the hard ground that he played the basketball. When he got there, though, I also did office site private school, everything that the private school people do. Like you become something new, but because you have the talent, you'll be able to adapt to your new way of maybe living there. So I think we have the talent, but it's what is left is up to the leaguers for them to polish the talent that we have from the raw state they process it, and now it becomes something good for us to showcase the world what we have. Because I don't think Ghanaians will lack. Because with this league, the investment, where is the investment? They are not doing it. I mean, with this one, the introduction of what you guys were saying, giving out the trophy. The previous years that you've been playing, they know this is the winner, so they wait and give it to the winner. But this one, it wasn't decided. And 3 teams are playing. Each team could have won. I don't know why they were waiting for one team to win because they never knew whether the Biani Gold Stars were going to win or Nations were going to win. So they never knew who was going to win. So they had to provide the dummy ones and all those things. But they don't have it. I don't know. I don't think they have. Because if you check Manchester City versus Queen's Park Rangers or whatever, 2011-2012 season where Manchester City won.
Yeah.
The trophy was on its way going to the Old Trafford, but immediately City scored. It was returned. I don't know what these people are doing. They're not investing. Same way the GPL. Maybe you want person of a shortcut, find while there is a flight over there. Hey, we have a long way to go, bro. We have a long way to go.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much. 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. Let me take this. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Katel, calling from Asuchari.
All right, please.
You know, this is one thing that we don't watch this GPA. See, I've been following you guys not today and tomorrow. All what you are saying is true. It make we the youth, the young youth, we are not learning anything from our Ghana Football Association. How can it set up like this? Are you letting us use the youth to learn the bad thing or the good thing? And the next day, you are telling me you should go to the park and go and pay money and watch this game. Something like this. I don't think our football association is very serious. They are not serious. They are not helping the youth to believe in our football. See, my brother, I can bet you that in these gyms, we the youth create our own gyms. Whatever they do, we don't benefit.
Okay.
We don't benefit. I can tell you, let's decide to go over here. We don't have any gym center over here. If we the youth, we create our own gym center over here, taking what? Every month, we take how much? 2.5. Every month, you have to pay 250 cities. If maybe the nation have created something at this area, and I'm paying 100 cities a month, is it not better? It's not better for somebody personal to be paying something like that. So there is nothing will come. Let's sit down and settle themselves. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you so much for your call. 054-257-1061. Let's take about 2 or more calls, like 2 calls, and we'll wrap it up this morning. 054-257-1061. Let me take this caller. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Ethan.
Yep. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Michael from Ablekuma.
Michael, how are you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Wonderful. Please go ahead.
You see, we are talking about Ghana Premier League, guys. So on Friday, are they going to play a match before they hand over the trophy?
On Saturday? Yes.
On Saturday, rather.
Yes,
they are going to play a match.
Yes, Saturday. So they'll play a match between Gold Stars and Medium. But it's not part of the league. You get it? The league has ended. Ah.
And so we are the football people. We are the football men. Football we are Gala view. You come Sala Gala for young Bunisi. The competition come for radio stations to cry organize the company and my batasi. On which you see German money black stars. German money black stars. One castle product no. You can't organize it well. I think I'll go a match outside. Into what is the media match, the Bingo Stars, the coronation bazaar. So, and it's it. And that's sad, and it's it. Now, it's before noon, the mobile. Yes, say, we couldn't in your band, we will be good. We will come in your band, we will be good. Pajasi. And our Bible says, Mom snap it at in Pono, if you're quite panel, Namun Fossil, Namunya Mamma cry.
So
for you,
oh, how?
Oh, nine and defend that you bought a song passing duty. And so first, you said Catanasu Namubo.
Oh, na say game Nasisa. You can't play Catanasu. You can't keep playing
Catanasu. That's what we know Italian for. Back and in Spain. Samba boy in Brazil. But more Italians and Boston is about a song passing duty. Sana Madino Mustasi, Canaba and Anamoboy. Gatuso mo team po one barela ti bo person 1 2 so if you come look at on the player man no gamble but what you say with two strikers they will help you mechanical football na no mo but when strikers ti bo person 10 kies ti bo person 10 and no ball no go back to your roots into am so real cool ko binya benya we real big.
I see.
We are to come here, we will be them. We will feel one, they've lost their identity, they should go back. Omun question, or more possibly all World Cups. Me second to Brazil, no more question. What is Omu question now? Almost the ticket can start football network, which and no deal. They should go back to their roots and learn from the past.
Okay.
You'll be successful. Thank you.
All right. Michael from Ablekuma, thank you so much. Let me take a final caller and then we call it a morning. 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. Let me take a final caller for the morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Nathan.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, Abu Muhammad is my name. I'm calling from Japan.
All right, please go ahead.
You know, I was busy this morning, so I just tuned in. So I didn't listen to you from the beginning. But what I'm hearing is like, those who won the league, they have not been handed the trophy yet, right?
Yes, that is true.
Is that how it's supposed to be? Even the whole World Cup, the final, they make sure they bring the trophy on the field. Why do you see our leaders? The more they want to show that they are that smart, then they expose themselves the more. You want to be smart, and now look how you expose yourself. So this is a reflection of a bad management. This is a reflection of, not knowing what to do, and you don't also want to humble yourself and learn. The media guys, they come and they educate us, and we see everywhere. Me, the last time I go to stadium was when DP Mazembe came to play with the selected team of Ghana.
Okay.
That was the last time I stepped. That was the last time I went to the stadium. I went to the washroom. I tell you, I have to fold my trouser to my knee. So it's not only the football, even the stadium. So that was the last time I visited stadium, and I promised not to go to stadium ever. Just like the way I also said I will not vote again for anything, because it's like these people, they don't learn. You go to the highest, you travel around the world. You go to meeting with these high-profile people, the people who do it. So what do you learn? Nathan, thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the calls. And that's how we wrap it up this morning on the Sporty Breakfast. Ray, what is it?
Ethan, I'm waiting for the day.
Mm-hmm.
We'll finish playing the English Premier League.
SportyFM, the voice of sport.
And the Manchester United
on the final day of the season, Arsenal's trophy will not be presented to them.
And then they'll say, come and play next week.
They'll play next week against maybe Tottenham at the Emirates.
Mm-hmm.
That's a coronation match. I'm waiting for that day.
Charlie, but that one, yes, sorry. No, but this coronation business.
Chama.
No.
Why?
The GFA, you know?
You don't believe?
Believe that.
Arsenal can play coronation match with Tottenham.
Which country? Which year?
Yeah, because you see that. Wait, so I'm asking you, the coronation game, like, who is sanctioning it?
Every. So they have money to organize an extra game.
And that is it part of the record?
Oh, it's a friendly game just to award the trophy.
So if they could do, why didn't they do it just last week? So that this weekend the club will do its own special.
I'm saying, even the
anyway,
players, do the players want to play this game?
I wonder. I wonder. Anyway, that's how I wrap it up this morning on the Sporty Breakfast. Many thanks for listening. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you out there for listening. We really appreciate it. Many shouts to my production team. They've been absolutely super. Many shouts to Fly Emmanuel Ayamga, to Fidelis, who was on the ones and twos, and all of that. We are back tomorrow. Many thanks to you, our listeners, for the calls and messages. We are back tomorrow, Wednesday edition of the Sporty